Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How are you guys doing tonight? That's the, yes, if you missed it last night, that is the new intro. We have a new intro here on the channel. So, I do like it. Power is out. Man, I hope y'all down in Texas and in the South are, whatchamacallit, safe? That thing. Yes, safe and warm. Do I sleep anymore? Man, you know what? I ended up sleeping quite a bit. And I don't feel like it at all. I do not feel like it at all. I feel so tired today. I was really tired yesterday. Really tired today. The impeachment streams like threw off my life schedule. Teleco, you get an ad during a live show? I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. Goodness. Yeah. If my eyes look a little like tired, it's because I was just laying down, which was a mistake, but it was a welcome mistake. And yes, thank you to the million people who have let me know that I got a shout out on Tim Pool. I got to find out just how many of you watched Tim Pool today. my DMs on across all platforms are flooded with notifications of people saying, "You got mentioned on Tim Pool. James O'Keefe was on." It's great. So I do appreciate it very much. I appreciate whoever sent the super chat to Tim. You know, I would love to talk to James O'Keefe. I think he's doing some very, very important work in the world. And I'm we'll see. The statements about me starting some sort of lawyer group, I don't know. I don't know how specific those statements were. I don't know. I've mentioned something about it before, about wanting to get together a coalition of lawyers to help people out and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm certainly willing. If we can find the, the lawyers with the willpower to put that together. I'm happy to be a hub to organize something like that. But, yeah, we'll see. I said, if James wants to talk to me, then I would be happy to talk to him and see what could be done, to coordinate and to help protect whistleblowers and stuff like that. I think it'd be great. Law Twitter already exists. No. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we've got some things to discuss tonight. We've got Parler's return on the menu. Parler is back, sort of. It doesn't seem to work for me. Like, oh, there we go. Looks like their site is working really great right now. But it does appear to be functioning, maybe. Oh, yep, I'm signed in. I am signed in to Parler. Oh, baby. All of the Parler posts, all of the original ones have been destroyed and demolished. So that's gone. But I'm on. We're back. Guess who's back? Back again. So we're going to talk about that, though. We're going to talk about... Oh, my... Oh! Woo! I got to wake up. We're going to talk about Parler. There is an article, and this is what sparked it. There are two things. Parler had a brief, their amended complaint due today, and they didn't do it. However, they have requested an extension with the blessing of Amazon. So they will likely be granted the extension, although as of last time I checked, these cowlicks are terrible. As of last time I checked, the judge hadn't actually granted the extension yet, but they probably will. They have no reason not to. Well, they have a very mild reason not to, but not a good reason, we'll say. We'll talk about that in a minute, and we'll take a peek at what's going on there. But that's not what prompted me to want to talk about Parler today. It is something that makes me want to talk about Parler, but it's not what prompted me. It was just in the back of my mind. I was like, okay, Parler's going to have their new complaint, their amended complaint in today, and then suddenly they're not. So that was one thing. But the other thing, and this is what actually prompted me looking at it, was I think it's Ars Technica. Ars Technica has a Parler story. Is that it? Is this the one? Yeah. I think this is it. Taking a peek here. Yes. We're going to take a look at this Ars Technica. And yes, I know it's Ars Technica. That's part of the point. Like they're a giant pile of garbage or whatever. We're going to take a look at their little article. And and we'll see how long Parler's going to last. Okay? That's the root of this thing. How long is Parler going to last? We'll go through this article and take a look. Then we're going to go to a different story. And that is the I call it Chauvinnanigans. And it's the untold story. Well, it's not untold, it's told. I mean, it's legitimately told. We'll look at a news story about it, but it wasn't really widely circulated. Of Derek Chauvin's attempt to plead guilty to the murder of George Floyd. Which is a story I don't think many people have heard. I know I didn't hear it until recently, and this happened a long time ago. And so we're going to talk about that because I think it's a real weird missed opportunity by the judge in this case. And it might put some things in a different light for some people. I don't know. Yeah. Look at the chat's reaction to this. Because nobody has really heard about this. It somehow didn't make major news, but Derek Chauvin attempted to plead guilty to third-degree murder of George Floyd 3 days after being arrested. And so we're going to go through that story because it's an interesting one. Mike Hurley's right. William Barr stopped the plea deal for really stupid reasons, ultimately. Minnesota was willing to take it. William Barr stopped it, and the feds had to sign off on it for some reasons. But we'll get into it. We'll get into why. It's not like some nefarious reason or anything like that. It's kind of stupid. So that's another story we're gonna do, and then there's some other stuff, and I might start with some of the other stuff because it's kind of funny. Oh my god! If I could just wake up. Woo! So, let me grab that story real quick while we're getting here. The other stories I have, well, I have a story of a new law in Georgia, which is pretty interesting. It's not a new law, it's a new proposed law. Let me be precise on that. It's a proposed law by a Georgia GOP lawmaker, which is a bill to increase penalties for crimes committed during protests. So we've got to nail that one. Very interesting sort of idea. I don't know if you guys saw my earlier video today about the Fulton County, Georgia's election director. So the guy who runs the elections in Atlanta was fired today. That was good. A lot of stuff happening in Georgia right now, actually. So they fired their election director. You've got the other stuff happening in Georgia is Georgia's trying to disbar Lynn Wood. Also, Warner is talking about running against Wallach in 2022. Oh! There's this thing. We're not going to talk about this today. This is coming. Is this my... This is coming. Maybe tomorrow. Not sure. I got to give it the old glance over. This is the Honorable Benny G. Thompson, Representative Benny Thompson, suing Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, Proud Boys International LLC, and Oath Keepers for the Capitol riots. So this is a lawsuit in the making. This will be really great. But I mentioned this type of thing, that there are civil and criminal charges or penalties potentially for Donald Trump. Now, I don't think this one's going to go through, at least as far as Trump is concerned. This is a cheap attempt to attach Donald Trump to a lawsuit that is maybe more properly organized at this group or this group down here. These people, you might be able to form a cohesive argument about whether or not Proud Boys or Oath Keepers conspired to create a riot on January 6th. Harder to tie Trump and Giuliani to the conspiracy of Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. That one's going to be a little tenuous. But of course, this is a Democrat representative virtue signaling. So, of course, they're not bound by, sort of ideas about what's actually legal or not. Let's not let that pesky qualification of, is this actually a legal thing, get in the way. They have virtue to signal and statements to make. So that's coming very soon. Once I give it the old read through. It's not a long lawsuit, and I can already tell you it's stupid. But it'll be funny. It'll be funny to go through at least. What's the other story we've got? Oh yeah. Let's open with this one. Let's open with this one. I think this is proper. So apparently, there's a guy named Mike David from Red Bar Radio. I've never heard of Red Bar Radio in my entire life. But he has some thoughts about a panel discussion. So I was on the Quarterings show after Gina Carano was unceremoniously yeeted off of Disney. And so, you know, I was on a panel show. We had heel versus babyface, that Star Wars girl. We had Midnight's Edge. We had Adamcast. We had Nerdrotic. Yellow Flash. God, I'm missing people. Quarter Black Garrett from Crowder's show. There's some other people as well. Tom from Midnight's Edge. Anyway, we're all on this thing and just kind of talking and having a little discussion about culture. And then and this guy apparently has some opinions on it. So we're going to see what he has to say. All right. Yeah, Doomcock was on there, but not while I was on. So, you know, let's see. Here we go. I am on this clip, though. Oh, wait. It's muted. It's muted. I'm sorry. Okay. It's unmuted now. Don't worry. I sometimes have done this.
He has been on a delusional...
I sent you one of those screenshots you were talking about.
Where? This one?
Yeah.
Let's see what this is. Do people know what I'm talking about here?
No.
Here, look at this. This is what they're doing. This is what the losers are doing now because they can't...
Look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing, these losers. They're doing a thing.
Be losers alone. Look at this.
The
horror.
They're doing a multi-stream.
Chrissy Marr. Look at the balls.
The balls. That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. Like, look at the horror. It's just multiple people on a live stream. What's up with that, man?
Look at these fucks. They all collect DVDs and figurines. These are the worst people that we could... Autistic people, Hostbuster. These people.
Rife with autism in DVDs. Have you heard of these DVDs that people have these days? Have you ever seen one? I haven't even seen one of those. I'm using tapes. What the hell is going on? They've got figurines. Egads.
They're on such an off path. They're so far off. And historically, we would have ignored them. They were always silenced and sentenced to a life alone.
A life alone. Alone. Yes, the social reprobates that are on this channel. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the 9 people in this frame, I know 4 of them are married. One of them has a long-term boyfriend. I don't know about Tom as Quarter Black Garrett or what's her name? Oh my gosh, I just met her, but I'm bad with names. I don't know about their relationship statuses, but yes, they just die alone. Normally, they just die alone. In the past, when things were better, we'd ignore these people and they'd just be in a gutter somewhere.
And now they
Chrissy,
found
yes,
this is
Chrissy.
QAnon. This is the Proud Boys. These are the
We are QAnon and the Proud Boys. Where What are you talking about, you weirdo? Okay, Quarter Black is married also. Lauren Chen wasn't on the show at the time, Nerniat, so who doesn't know? So he doesn't know about that. He's not talking about that guy.
Scum of America's bottom floor, and they found community.
Charge your fucking phone, buddy. What is 0%? They just what? Like, can you imagine the frenzy to get this screenshot before the phone died? Like, are you kidding?
It's the most dangerous thing happening today. And they know. They don't.
The most dangerous thing happening today are 9 weirdos from YouTube getting together on the Quarterings channel to talk about Gina Carano being removed from Disney is the most dangerous thing today. Oh my God.
I almost know that what they're saying is nonsense, but they get their friends to agree with it. It's really weird. It's like when you see Gino promote the...
Wait a minute. This guy just screwed up royally. Did you catch that? Let's go back and listen to that. All right.
With it, it's really weird. It's like when you see Gino promote...
Wait, I didn't go back far enough. Here we go.
And they almost know that what they're saying is nonsense, but they get their friends.
You caught it, right? I paused it right after it happened. They get their friends. Wait a minute. I thought that I'm not in that picture, definitely not in the bottom right. I thought that these reprobates would die alone normally, but apparently they're getting their friends now. So which one is it, homie? Do we have friends or are we relegated to a life alone? Just furiously flogging ourselves and chafing our palms.
To agree with it, it's really weird. It's like when you see Gino promote the Proud Boys and pretend that they're just a great... They're not great. I don't hate great people. All right? You know, I don't...
You hate, like, I guess he hates the Proud Boys. I don't know if he hates us on the show because I'm lost now as to whether or not we are in the Proud Boys or we are the Proud Boys. You know, I don't know. I'm confused now.
Do stuff like that. I know who's shit. I know who's full of crap. And these guys are bad.
I bet he's never watched a single show of a single person on that screen. I know who's shit and I know who's full of crap. And these guys are bad.
And they shouldn't have internet access.
Oh!
And today we're going to show you some of the grandest delusions of all. I hope that doesn't impress you. But I don't know what can be done. I don't know how we could fight back without looking like it's political. This is the problem. It's because you try to fight Gino Bisconte.
Who's Gino Bisconte?
And they go, oh, he must be a liberal because Gino's on. See how they weaponize this whole political thing. It's very frustrating.
You just spent the entire time weaponizing politics against people who had no specific political message in a live stream. You weirdo. They weaponize the politics. Sitting there talking about they're Proud Boys. Oh my God. I've never heard of this guy. This guy is Mike David of Red Bar Radio. Sheila Aliens, who's a moderator on this channel, although I may have to I'm just kidding, obviously. Sheila apparently is familiar in some way with this person's show. This guy has had a show for like 18 years. this podcast has existed, apparently. But I don't know. Lots of shows have existed that I've never heard of. Who the hell's Gino? Get Gino on the stream. I literally don't know who Gino is. Gino Bisconti? I don't know who that is. So anyway, Mike David of Red Bar Radio. I wish I knew where that post was from, like that screenshot. It looked like it was from Instagram or something like that. Whew. We've got 7 shows you've never heard of. Probably. So anyway, I don't know. I thought this is funny. I mean, I don't care about this guy. He's welcome to have his opinions. I think opinions that anyone shouldn't have internet access is a weird one. Like, that's just a strange thing to me. Like, they shouldn't have internet. We want them to die alone in a basement with their friends. Okay. That's awkward. But so I just found this funny. Thought I'd share it with you guys in case you guys didn't happen to see it on Twitter or whatever. And you shouldn't see it on Twitter. But yeah, so that's that right there. That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. Okay. Where are we? So here's Ars Technica. Where is... Oh, I got to get the one other thing pulled up. And that is the... where is this? I got to find that Derek Chauvin. Article. Copy link. Okay, so we'll go through this Ars Technica one first. There are a couple super chats I want to make sure and hit before we get started. So let me do those real quick. Isaac the Dragonborn says, you got a shout out on Tim Pool's show with James O'Keefe. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Very cool. Bad Vibe says, hold on, Lil Nicky. We need some better quantifiable terms than more soy content than Kikkomans for the soy-juiced wonder. Like, are we talking between Sick Bird Esquire and a remote-wielding snack tray packing sheepdog? I don't know. I don't know what level of soy is in that guy. He's very interesting, that's for sure. Bad Vibe says, did the boomer forget to wind his schnoz again? No, I did not. I was on time. How dare you? And Talbot Links says, watch your email. You're on Veritas's radar. Also had a Glenlivet 15 recently. Good stuff. Glenlivet 15. Which one? Was it the Nadura? The Glenlivet Naduras are great. Great. Very, very good scotches. And by very good, I mean great. By the way, if you guys, I do not advocate the collection of DVDs. What is this? Is this 1998? I will not be slandered in this way. I do not advocate the collection of DVDs. And if anybody ever accuses me of that again, they can expect a federal lawsuit against them. Good God. DVDs. What, we're supporting the Chinese now with their electronics that they manufacture in their slave camps? Not a chance. I want all my physical media chiseled onto stone tablet. The only DVD you should be collecting is HD DVD, the only format worth making. Superstitious Oblivious B says, can you show us your DVD collection? I cannot. I've never even seen a DVD before. They don't even exist to me. I only watch DivX. That's right. And I don't mean the video codec. I mean the DivX rental program. Here's how my life went. Betamax to Laserdisc to DivX to HD DVD. Only winners, baby. Only winners. Okay, let's pull this up. Here we go. So we're going to read through this Ars Technica article. It's not something I normally do on a live stream, like reading through an article, but this one's kind of, this one's important, I think. Mike is nice. He gave you a laptop. Wait, is that real or is that a joke about Ron? Do you guys not remember, like, I don't know if most people actually know what DivX was before DivX was a video codec on computers. Do you guys know the story of DivX? If you didn't work at Circuit City, you might not know at the right period of time. You may not know what DivX was. So DivX was a program where they took a DVD and you had a special DVD player, a DivX player. And so it would be plugged into your phone line so it could use the internet. And you would go to a store and you would buy a physical disc for like $5. And it had a movie on it, just like a DVD would. But it was $5 instead of $20. And you could hold on to this thing for a long time. And then once you put it in your DivX player and press play, you had 48 hours to watch the movie as many times as you wanted. You could watch the movie. So if you wanted to watch Blade like 35 times or whatever, you could do that. You had 48 hours to do it. And then it wouldn't work anymore unless you wanted to either re-rent it or buy it. And by buy it, I meant you bought a 2-year license. It was the biggest ripoff ever. Your permanent purchase of a movie through the DivX program was a 2-year license, which ended up being okay because it failed miserably. And I don't think any license actually made it to the 2 years. But Circuit City was one of the DivX partners. And so, you could get DivX players when they came out at Circuit City, and then you could buy the discs. I had to stock them on the shelves and stuff, and no one was buying those things at all. But it was it was like when Netflix was mailing DVDs out, this was a different program. Like, yeah, you never have to return these. It's $5. You never have to return them. They don't have to go to the store, or you never have to return some videotapes like you're some sort of creepy Patrick Bateman knockoff or anything like that. It was a rental with no return time. Convenience for you. It failed horrifically. However, I will tell you the one silver lining about it. The best part of it was that since I worked at Circuit City, and since the DivX players were in a special partnership with Circuit City, we got a massive discount on those players, and I was able to get a DVD, because they were a DVD player as well. Like, they were just also a functional DVD player if you didn't use it for the DivX part. But I was able to get my family a DVD player for like way cheaper than they were at the time, because they were like $600. or something, and we were able to get these things for like $200. So, it was good time. That was the best part about it. I never bought a single DivX disc. So fun times for me. Bad Vibe says Nick has the 10 Commandments on Stone Slab 2nd edition. Yes. Pseudo Snark says, did you see Chauvin did an interview on the impeachment hearing? They're trying to paint a fight. I can't link, but Google Jewish Insider Chauvin interview. Wait, what? Jewish Insider Chauvin interview. Oh, here we go. He describes dysfunction within Trump's impeachment team. Oh, okay. We'll maybe look at that in a little bit. Poor communication. Yes, you hire several high-power attorneys and unleash them all on the same case. And by the way, you have 8 days. Go. Tina says, these jokers think you have a DVD collection when we all know you have a Laserdisc collection. That's right. Best part about a Laserdisc collection is your house has to be 2 times taller and 2 times deeper, 3 times deeper for all storage. So, all right. On to this Ars Technica. Let's see. Ars Technica interview. So Parler says it's back without big tech after being kicked off of Amazon. Parler said it's using independent technology to get online after Amazon ban. Independent technology, which of course it seems to be dependent. See if I can zoom in and enhance for you guys. Oh, you scumbag. There we go. Parler.com is getting back online after being kicked off of Amazon's hosting service, with the controversial social network saying it no longer relies on big tech for its web infrastructure. A Parler announcement today said it relaunched its website. Its relaunched website is built on sustainable, independent technology and not reliant on so-called big tech for its operations. I love sustainable. What is it? Does it biodegrade? Does it have one of those like decomposing piles powering it? What the hell is this? Amazon cut off Parler's web hosting service on January 10th, a few days after a Trump-incited mob stormed the U.S. Capitol, saying that Parler cannot comply with our terms of service and poses a very real risk to public safety. Parler sued Amazon in response, but a federal judge denied Parler's request for a preliminary injunction. It would have forced Amazon to reinstate its services. So this is almost neutral, except for the Trump-incited mob, which we know, since Trump was acquitted, that it wasn't Trump-incited. It necessarily cannot be. Now, Parler is using hosting services from a company called SkySilk. Parler said its site is available this week only to users who already had accounts. New users, on the other hand, will be able to sign up next week. While existing users can now log into Parler, their old posts have been removed from the site, TechCrunch reported. And I have confirmed, I have no posts on Parler. Oh, by the way, just so you guys know, you've been lied to by Big Windmill. Windmills work in the winter. It's been negative like 15 degrees here in my area for the past week. Our windmills are still going. They do work. So Big Windmill is lying to you. T. Boone Pickens is lying to you. So you gotta make sure you hold them accountable. When Parler was taken offline in January by those who desire to silence tens of millions of Americans, Our team came together, gross, determined to keep our promises to our highly engaged community that we would return stronger than ever. We're thrilled to welcome everyone back, Parler interim CEO Mark Meckler said in the announcement. Quote, Parler is being run by an experienced team and is here to stay. We will thrive as a premier social media platform dedicated to free speech, privacy, and civil dialogue. I don't know about that. Meckler, who co-founded the Tea Party Patriots in 2009, replaced recently fired CEO John Matzey as head of Parler. So we've got Tea Party power coming in. Look, guys, when they say they've got an experienced team, they mean that the entire team is over 70. So, because it's the Tea Party. The Tea Party is here. So, Amazon said in a court filing that it cut Parler off because it's demonstrated unwillingness and inability to remove from the servers of Amazon Web Services content that threatens the public safety, such as by inciting and planning the rape, torture, and assassination of named public officials and private citizens, which further goes against the narrative that Trump caused this, because all of the rape, torture, and assassination that occurred was planned. In new Parler posts today, Parler's official account said, "We will not be canceled," while Meckler wrote, "Parler is live and it feels so good." Here's a screenshot. So here we go. They have parlays going right now with Mark Meckler saying, "Parler is live and it feels so good. I'm honored to be Parler's interim CEO and looking forward to getting to know all of you. We are committed to continuing to fulfill our role as the premier platform for free speech, data sovereignty, and civil discourse. And that means serving you. Read less." Would you like to know less? Click. Data sovereignty, civil discourse. Some of these words, kind of concerned. Parler says, "Meet Mark Meckler, our interim CEO. He came on board in the final days of us rebuilding the entire platform. He's a free speech and privacy advocate, as he's proven in the past. Follow him for his personal updates. We will not be canceled." With a beefy arm. And if you put a beefy arm on a tweet or a parlay, as it were, you know they mean it. Parler traffic on a new path. So this has been mildly slanted, but ultimately pretty neutral, okay? I know this article is kind of boring right now. This is where it starts to get interesting for me. Parler traffic is going through a data center in Ohio run by CloudRoute, and from there to a SkySilk data center in Los Angeles, where SkySilk exchanges internet traffic with NTT. Well, we now know where all of the data is going. All of it, because Ars Technica just named every single company involved. This is confirmed by trace routes from tens of major cities distributed throughout the Americas, Europe, and Asia. We've fully verified this. We contacted NTT today and we'll update this article if we get a response. Oh, will you? You contacted them, did you? CloudRoute and SkySilk seem to be connected in some way, and it may ultimately be part of the same company. CloudRoute CEO Andrei Temnarod denied or downplayed any connection, telling the New York Times that SkySilk is our customer and Parler is SkySilk's customer. However, Who Is information lists Temnarod's email and other CloudRoute email addresses as contacts for SkySilk. By the way, you can actually be the owner of two different companies and still have the true thing be that one company is a customer of your other company. SkySilk CEO Kevin Matosian confirmed to NPR that the company is providing web hosting services to Parler, according to NPR reporter Bobby Allen. CloudRoute is described by Scamalytics as quote, a potentially high fraud risk ISP with about 56% of traffic from the ISP suspected to be potentially fraudulent. We contacted CloudRoute and SkySilk today and will update this article if we get any response. CloudRoute bills itself as a partner of Microsoft, but that doesn't necessarily mean any Parler.com content is hosted on Microsoft's cloud services. Parler has been a user of Microsoft Office 365 for email, and Microsoft employees reportedly debated last month whether it should stop providing services to Parler. We contacted Microsoft today and will update this article if we get a response. Oh, how nice of Ars Technica to just go around contacting everybody. Isn't that helpful of Parler or of Ars Technica? Just go ahead and send contacts out to every single person. Really useful. Parler.com last month moved its domain to Epic, a domain registrar that also provides services to Gab, which is known for hosting anti-Semitic content. Parler at one point last month was using services from the Russian company DDoS Guard, but apparently isn't anymore. Congressional investigation. As reported last week, a congressional oversight committee is investigating whether Parler has financial ties to Russian entities, saying the social network, quote, allowed Russian disinformation to flourish before the 2020 U.S. election. The House Committee on Oversight and Reform is also looking into a BuzzFeed report that Parler offered the Trump Organization a 40% ownership stake in exchange for then-President Donald Trump making Parler his primary social network. The negotiations, quote, were ultimately derailed by the events of January 6th, that report said. Parler's community guidelines said, quote, we prefer that removing users or user-provided content be kept to the absolute minimum and that Parler's policies are, quote, viewpoint neutral. However, the guidelines say that Parler will not knowingly allow itself to be used as a tool for crime, civil torts, or other unlawful acts. We will remove reported user content that a reasonable and objective observer would believe constitutes or evidences such activity. We may also remove the accounts of users who use our platform in this way. So, thanks to John Brodkin. John is Ars Technica's senior IT reporter covering the FCC and broadband, telecommunications, tech policy, and more. I have heard rumors that John Brodkin may have, I was going to joke and say anti-Semitic tendencies and that I've reached out to the Jewish groups for comment and I'll circle back. But I couldn't even carry out the joke. I couldn't even do it. I failed the joke. I'm sorry. I failed the joke and I failed you. But look at that. I mean, just look at this. Hey, why don't you just let the website run? Like, you already killed them. Is anybody excited for Parler to come back? I'm not at all. Let's take a look at this. Here it is. Look at it. Look at this. Disgusting. The world's town square. Speak freely and express yourself openly. Does anybody legitimately believe you can speak freely and openly on Parler right now? Does anybody believe that there's not a Fed watching every single parlay? I liked Parler before it got shut down too. I don't trust this damn website at all now. If it stays up, I'm more concerned. Why would I think they're going to let this thing stay up unless they're using it to monitor people? That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Everybody on Earth wants to get this thing shut down. Or wanted to. Ars Technica. They're not the only culprits here. Let's be very clear on this. Look at it. Look at this paragraph. New York Times, NPR, Scamalytics. These are not the only. Ars Technica is not the only people doing this. Microsoft employees themselves are going after it. Like this thing is a hotbed of being on the verge of being canceled at any moment. Yes, a honeypot, if you will. I wouldn't post anything free on Parler at all. You can't. They can't let you. They can track it, though, after they take it down. It's not Parler's fault, brutally honest Canuckistani. I'm not blaming Parler. Where Parler deserves blame, they've already got it. Parler deserves blame for getting shut down in the first place by thinking they were immune to being shut down. They thought they had big Republican names with big Republican money and that they would be immune. That's what they thought. It showed a real disconnect. It showed a real disconnect with reality, and that they deserve, listen, Parler's management team deserves all of the blame for them being shut down. John Matsey was out there lying about them being able to be back up in 24 hours. They weren't going to get shut down. They had a completely independent thing that wasn't it didn't rely on Amazon at all, except that it completely relied on Amazon, and they had to rebuild the entire website. It took a month to get back up. Parler's management team flat out misrepresented what was going on because they thought, oh, well, we're not going to get shut down. That's what they thought. That's where all the blame lies. The fact that I don't trust Parler now has nothing to do with Parler. Has nothing to do with their management team. They could be the best people on earth. I like a lot of the people who are involved with Parler. Like Mark Levin. I like Mark Levin just fine. I like them. I think they've got a good idea. They can't do it though. The second they allow quote unquote free speech on Parler again, they'll get shut down. So what they have to do is they have to censor, and they probably have to oversell it because they're a target. They're a target, man. It's not anything personal against them. Real conversation on the world's premier free speech platform. Parler protects our community members' rights and privacy. Parler is here to help people with varying life experiences from all walks of life communicate on a platform which treats them as equals. Higher ethical standard. Parler believes that people are entitled to security, privacy, and freedom of expression. All personal data is kept confidential and never sold to third parties. See, this is good. I like this. Our concise community guidelines are based on fair and just legal precedent and are enforced by a community jury. Parler community is built on trust. Our verification process helps to keep out bots and encourages civil discourse. Take the next step in pursuing these important values by becoming a verified Parler citizen. And remember, service guarantees citizenship. Customize your experience. That's great. You get a customized account feed. Curate and moderate your own feed using the robust set of tools. Moderate your own world. Customize what you see and who you interact with by filtering out sensitive material, bots, or accounts that identify as bots, or even particular keywords you'd rather not see in comments to your parlays. This is what Jack was talking about on Twitter. More control over the content delivery algorithms. But yeah, I mean, whether or not it works is great. We give you the tools you need to do your own shadow banning while still leaving everyone else free to decide for themselves what they wish to see on their profiles and feeds. And then weekly team updates. Okay. So there's Parler. Like I said, I'm on it. I'm back on it. I haven't posted anything yet. But I guess I'll add it to all of the other alternative media things that I have to click on every time I want to say anything. This brave new world sure is great, where I have to go to like 5 different websites to say one thing now. I love it. I want more of that. As says, meanwhile on Twitter they protect CP, and that they do. But have you considered the fact that Jack and Twitter love CP? That it's their favorite thing. So there you go. Anyway, so that's Parler. Parler's back. I'm really, really concerned for Parler's ability to stay. I don't know if they will be able to maintain it. And again, I'm not blaming Parler for this. I'm really not. They've got the full public scrutiny going on. It's evidence from that Ars Technica article. That's why I wanted to bring it up. That's why I wanted to read it. It was warning shots. It was warning shots from social justice. We've asked, and we'll let you know if we hear anything. Well, why are you asking? Why are you even asking? Don't ask. It's not important for you to ask. Stop it. So, what else we got going here? How many followers do I even have? I have no idea. It doesn't even show me. Oh, I have 2,000 followers on Parler. That's fantastic. Go me. Which is more than I have on Gab or Minds or the Fediverse. It was really doing well. I got a bunch of followers the day before it got shut down. So that's fun times. All right. That's about all I wanted to say on Parler. Look, I hope they do well. I don't see how you can be a free speech platform in 2021. So I don't believe that Parler is one. And if you want to test it, just go on Parler and drop a bunch of gamer words in a row and see what happens. I mean, I don't advise that activity personally, but it's certainly, a thing. How is them intimidating people into breaking contracts with clients not tortious interference? Because tortious interference requires specific overt acts to interfere with a contract between third parties. And those overt acts cannot be a good-natured request for information or provision of true things. If you say true things, then it's largely not going to be tortious interference. Now, Texas, as we've discussed before, Texas has a little bit of a different approach to TI, and you can truth is not an absolute bar to tortious interference in Texas, but it's a little bit different. But generally speaking, that's how it goes. All right, now let's look into the soulless eyes of Derek Chauvin. Oof. Okay, so this is from February 11th, but we're talking about an event that happened a long time ago. Derek Chauvin agreed to plead guilty to third-degree murder, but Attorney General Barr rejected the deal. Oh, wait, there are some chats to read here. Nova Zero says, Nick just got a message from a colleague giving their farewells as they've been made redundant. He worked in the AWS space, called it AWS's move with Parler was stupid. Whole point of cloud was to make hosting cheap. Yeah. Well, I agree that it was stupid, but it's Amazon. There's like 5 companies that run the world right now, and Amazon's one of them. Bad Vibe says, look, if you are circling back, I'm going to start wondering if you are a holler back girl. We'll circle back on it. My Parler at is Rakeda Law. At Rakeda Law. All right, so here is Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin agreed to plead guilty to third-degree murder. By the way, that's the murder charge I said they would sick on Derek Chauvin. I still think Third degree murder has been specifically dismissed by the judge, which it's a lesser included offense to second degree murder. So I'm not entirely clear on if a jury could actually still convict on third degree. It's kind of a weird one. The Keith Ellison's office wants to charge the other 3 officers with third degree murder, which I do not agree with at all. I do not think that the other 3 officers can be credibly convicted on any murder charge. I don't think they could be convicted on a manslaughter charge either. But I do think they could have stuck the third degree on Chauvin. I don't think they'll stick a second degree on him. But anyway, so the story is he had agreed to plead guilty to third degree murder, but Attorney General William Barr rejected the deal. Yes, that's Federal Attorney General William Barr, and we're going to get into that, how that works out in just a second, because it's a weird one. Josh and Jen Gaming. Let me address this to the chat because I know you're going to yell at me. Josh and Jen Gaming asks, didn't Floyd's heart explode from fentanyl OD? If it did, which there is no credible evidence that it did, but if it did, okay, the coroner and the medical examiner in this case will both testify that the cause of death for George Floyd was Derek Chauvin's knee compressing George Floyd's neck. All right. We're talking about a lawsuit, a legal case, a criminal charge, and the only current experts in this case will testify that the cause of death was a knee from Derek Chauvin compressing the neck of George Floyd. Whatever you want to say about what killed George Floyd is fine, but the only considerations at present in the case are what the experts will say. So unless the family of Chauvin and his defense team gets an expert that is a better expert than the 2 they currently have, and Minnesota uses a competing expert standard, unless they get a better qualified expert to come in and say that the cause of death was something other than that, then all of the chats in the world saying that George Floyd died from a fentanyl overdose will not change the legal outcome of the case. Okay? So when I say that Derek Chauvin is the cause of death for George Floyd, I'm speaking in the legal sense. And I know that every time I say it, even after this disclaimer, I'm going to get yelled at by the chat who's going to be like, nah, he ate 4 babies and 27 fentanyls. I fucking get it. Okay? I get it. In the case, no one's going to testify to that yet. Maybe there will have someone. So far, they haven't been identified. Jeez, I hate talking about this case. I hate it so much because every time I talk about the legal standard, someone's like, but I read on 4chan that he died from fentanyl. Great. Fantastic. He probably did. All right. It was 3 days after George Floyd died in police custody last May, and businesses in the Twin Cities were on fire. Police officers were shooting rubber bullets and tear gas to hold back protesters. Should have been real bullets, maybe. Their anger fueled by a cell phone video of Floyd, a black man gasping for breath under the knee of a white officer. As soldiers prepared to take to the streets, the officer, Derek Chauvin, believed that the case against him was so devastating that he agreed to plead guilty to third-degree murder. As part of the deal, officials now say he was willing to go to prison for more than 10 years. Local officials, scrambling to quell the community's swelling anger, scheduled a news conference to announce the deal. All right, a couple things here. This should not have come out. This should not have come out at this point. This is prejudicial to Derek Chauvin's case. It shouldn't be out. Whoever talked about this shouldn't have talked about this. This deal should have remained silent, in my humble opinion. That being said, this technically cannot be used against Derek Chauvin in court. And any mention of this deal in court could result in a mistrial. So they'll need to be very cautious not to talk about this. They cannot bring up this deal. Can't do it. Angry Baneling, but if I did everything right, I wouldn't have you wouldn't have anything to say. So I have to do things wrong just to make sure you're still here. This story shouldn't exist at all at this point. This shouldn't exist until after he's either convicted or acquitted. I think it's prejudicial to him, and it'll be a looming sword in the courtroom. Because, I mean, think about it. The juror's like, what if they find him guilty? And then, a month or two later, a juror comes out and he's like, yeah, I read in the Star Tribune that guy was guilty. He wanted to plead to it. So I said, all right. Like, that's terrible. Terrible plan. But this can't be used against him, or it's not supposed to be. Socialism is for figs says the overdose is in the medical examiner's report, dude. That is why people are saying it. I know it's in the report, but you know what else is in the report? That the cause of death was homicide by a knee on the back of his neck. I'm telling you what they're going to testify to. God, this case. This case should never have been political. It should never have been politicized. God damn it. But at the last minute, according to new details laid out by 3 law enforcement officials, the deal fell apart after William Barr, the attorney general at the time, rejected the arrangement. The deal was contingent on the federal government's approval because Chauvin, who had asked to serve his time in a federal prison, wanted assurance that he would not face federal civil rights charges. Oh, man. An official said Barr worried that a plea deal so early in the process and before a full investigation had concluded would be perceived as too lenient by the growing number of protesters across America. Man, how wrong Barr was. How wrong Barr was. On this. Here's the thing. For me, in my opinion, if your goal is to reduce unrest, right? Forget justice and all that stuff, because they're not talking about justice here. William Barr isn't considering justice, he's considering riots. So if your goal is to reduce riots, pull the Band-Aid off. This is 3 days after Floyd died. Well, we don't want to do this. If we accept and announce this plea deal, oh man, these riots could go on for months. Well, fucking calculated, Barr. Good job. Good job on that one. Good work there, Barr. Excellent foresight. Now what we've got is we had months and months of riots and protests anyway. They still happened. And what we'll have again is a potential second wave of riots and protests. There will be a second wave of riots and protests, especially if Chauvin is ultimately acquitted. So again, if your goal, and Barr here is worried that the plea deal would be perceived as too lenient by the growing number of protesters across America, if that's what your concern is, then he miscalculated hilariously. At the same time, Barr wanted to allow state officials who are about to take over the case from the county prosecutor, who has had tense relations with Minneapolis's black community, to make their own decisions about how to proceed. Now, notice, the funny thing is, this county prosecutor is the only prosecutor to get a conviction in a high-profile police shooting in the country in like the past 20 years. It's the only one to do it. And it was the Justine Daman Mohammed Noor guy, the same county prosecutor. He's not running the case anymore. Keith Ellison is running the case as the state attorney general. So if you think that Chauvin's going to get acquitted, I would probably agree with you, because Keith Ellison's running it. Now, in the lead up to Chauvin's trial, which is scheduled to begin with jury selection March 8th, there's great uncertainty about the outcome and whether the proceedings could provoke more violence. Some office workers in downtown Minneapolis have already been told not to come to work during the weeks-long trial because of heavy security. The National Guard will be deployed, transforming the city center into a military zone with Humvees and armed soldiers monitoring checkpoints. In his recent budget proposal, Governor Tim Walz included a special $4.2 million item for security during the trial, as well as a $35 million fund to reimburse local law enforcement agencies that may be called upon to quell unrest. Maybe if you just didn't fire all the Minneapolis cops. This is the most famous police brutality prosecution in the history of the United States, said Paul Butler, a former prosecutor and professor at Georgetown University and an authority on police brutality. In a country whose criminal justice system rarely holds police officers accountable for killing on the job, not in Ferguson, not guilty. Very much not guilty. Darren Wilson did not murder Michael Brown. Michael Brown clearly attacked Darren Wilson. Ferguson is such a terrible case. Missouri, I'm not sure who Missouri is. Not in the death of Freddie Gray in Baltimore. You can blame that entirely on the prosecutor. Entirely on the prosecutor, charging way too hard on those cops. Jury didn't like it, threw it out. That's on the prosecutor. Not in the case of Eric Garner in New York. This one, again, I don't think that cop tried to kill Eric Garner. I don't think that was his goal. Because he's like, you know what I want to do? I want to kill a fat black guy. Nope. Not selling me on that one. The trial of Chauvin is seen as a test of whether anything has changed. The facts in all of these cases are so vastly different as to be the idea that something has to change for any one of these people to be convicted is ridiculous. None of these have a fact pattern that matches any of the other ones in any way. In any way. Oh, Ferguson, Missouri. Oh my God. That's right. That's not a list. That's not a list. That's just Ferguson, Missouri. So yeah, you got Mike Brown, Freddie Gray, and Eric Garner. Three vastly different cases. And the one with the least, like Eric Garner, this is probably the worst of the three cases in general. Where he was the least guilty is what I'll say. Is what I mean by that. And even in that case, I don't think that cop should have gotten a murder charge. Let's see. Chauvin, in widely seen cell phone video captured by a bystander, kept his knee on the neck of Floyd for more than 9 minutes until he took his last breaths, pushed against, in the words of a court filing, the unforgiving concrete of Chicago Avenue. Oh, whoever wrote that got a raise. The trial may yet be delayed. The prosecution has asked an appeals court to put off the proceedings, citing the risk that the trial, with so many demonstrators likely to fill the streets, becomes a super spreader event during the coronavirus pandemic. I'm pretty sure the request, the appeal was denied. But maybe it's a different appeal that was denied. Come on. Stop. You need to stop. We need to stop with this shit. This appeal involves a question of exceptional and unique importance in one of the highest profile cases in our nation's history. Reads the first sentence of the appellate brief filed by Keith Ellison, the state's attorney general, who is leading the prosecution. The state is also appealing a decision by Judge Peter A. Cahill to separate the trial of Chauvin, who is charged with second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. The initial charge of third-degree murder was dropped from the trial of 3 other former officers involved in Floyd's death, 2 of whom were rookies with just a few days on the job. I think they should separate them out. If I was one of the 3 other officers, I would definitely request to be separated from Chauvin. Talk about tainting a jury. Is it officially Lent? Oh, I guess today is Wednesday. I didn't say I would stop swearing. I said maybe I should give up swearing for Lent. Swearing on the show or whatever. All right. From the trial, 3 other former officers involved in Floyd's death, 2 of whom were rookies with just a few days on the job. 3 ex-officers who were charged, who were with Chauvin during Floyd's final minutes. Thomas Lane, who held Floyd's legs, again, not guilty. J. Alexander Kung, who was positioned on Floyd's back. Again, I don't think this guy's guilty either. And Tu Tao, who held off angry bystanders. I mean, this guy just looked like a weirdo. I don't think he was guilty of anything. Like, were they bad at their jobs? Maybe. Were they guilty of killing Floyd? Those 3? No. The only argument you have is that Chauvin did. And that's a question of fact, right? That is still a big-time fact question. We don't actually know if Chauvin is guilty of murder. I think based on what I've seen that you could convict him. I don't know that they will. I just think you can. These 3, I don't see how you convict him. I don't see anything that they did that merits murder charges or manslaughter charges for them. Are scheduled to face trial on aiding and abetting charges in August. They didn't help him do it. Not like the one guy's like, here, let me push down on the back of your knee. I bet your loins are getting tired pushing on Floyd. Like, it's ridiculous. How did they help? In fact, that has already been playing out behind the scenes. Defense attorneys for those former officers have shifted from crafting strategies built on establishing the culpability of Chauvin to offering their help to his defense. If Chauvin were acquitted, a possibility that many officials fear could lead to more upheaval and second-guessing about the failed plea deal, the other 3 officers would likely not face trial at all. Well, that's an interesting play. Floyd's death forced a reckoning with racial injustice and police brutality that many felt was long overdue. Not since the civil rights movement of the 1960s had so many Americans taken to the street to demand justice and equality. Uh-oh, Freudian slip came out there. That it happened in the middle of a pandemic only added to the sense of magnitude. Floyd died on Memorial Day after a store clerk called the police on him for allegedly using a counterfeit 20 to buy cigarettes. Soon, the impact of his death on the broader world will narrow to a specially built courtroom, number 1856, designed for social distancing at the Hennepin County Government Center in downtown Minneapolis. And if you want to go there, parking in this center is like $12 a half hour. I used to work right next to their parking ramp, and it is garbage. At trial, the central question will most likely be the exact cause of Floyd's death. The county medical examiner ruled the death a homicide caused by a combination of the officer's use of force, presence of fentanyl and methamphetamine in Floyd's system, and his underlying health conditions. But Chauvin's defense strategy, which has emerged in numerous court filings from his lawyer, Eric Nelson, is centered on presenting medical evidence that Floyd died of a drug overdose. Good. They'll have to bring in an expert to do this. A lot of the defense strategy will look like a trial of George Floyd's character, Butler, the Georgetown professor, said. In a series of motions filed this week, Nelson asked the court to allow testimony about Floyd's drug use and to forbid anyone at trial from referring to Floyd as a victim. Nelson declined to comment on the failed plea deal last year. We saw the same thing in Kyle Rittenhouse's case, although in that case, Judge Schroeder doesn't allow it just as a rule already. You don't have to request it. Bad Vibe says, I think what some of my peers are missing is a chemical made the results easier, or we won't know if Floyd would have lived without the knee. Lawyers and legal experts often bring up two of America's most famous trials involving race and the police when asked to place the criminal cases arising from Floyd's death in a historical context. One is Rodney King in Los Angeles in 1992 for its obvious parallels of white officers brutalizing a black man. I mean, let's be fair here. The Rodney King and Floyd videos look really, really different. They look really different. They're also really different because one of them is dead and the other one isn't. The other is the O.J. Simpson trial, which offers an example of how an emotional trial can become a televised spectacle. Cahill is citing the immense interest in the Chauvin case and the pandemic restrictions that will limit public attendance, has ruled that cameras will be allowed in the courtroom, a first in Minnesota. Oh, Rodney King is dead now? Okay, but Rodney King wasn't dead at the time of the trial. How's that? Marty Lund says, thanks for taking apart the impeachment sham and the Kenosha scam. The review of Fulton County firing their election chief made my day. See you in Houston. Stop overpaying for books, you boomer. But that's how I launder money, Marty. Losing percentages everywhere. Rodney King, he died 2 years ago of complications from being beaten by police in 1992. Ellison has objected to cameras in the court, writing in a motion that an innocent bystander who saw George Floyd's murder does not deserve, absent his or her consent, to be rocketed onto the public stage. They already are. They're already there. And by the way, that's a terrible plan. That's a terrible excuse. If you're testifying as a witness in a high-profile murder trial, I'm sorry, it's got to be public. It's got to be public. That's the whole point of the public trial system. It's got to be public. There are also persistent fears that the trial court could attract white supremacists or other right-wing extremist groups to the city. Already during pretrial hearings, lawyers for the defendants have been harassed. One man was arrested after managing to get a gun inside the courthouse. Wait a minute now. All right, let's review this. Let's review this sentence, shall we? This paragraph. Persistent fears the trial could attract white supremacists or other right-wing extremist groups. Already during pretrial hearings, lawyers for the defendants have been harassed. Oh, are the white supremacists and right-wing extremists going after the lawyers for the defendants because they're defending the cops who killed the white man, George Floyd? Is that what's going on here? Is that the Proud Boys have arrived to defend George Floyd's honor from the evil black man, Derek Chauvin? Wait, what? Who wrote this? Earl Gray, Lane's lawyer, was in his office on a recent morning explaining that Floyd's drug use will probably be the center of the case when his phone rang. It was another in a stream of harassing phone calls he's been receiving for months. Earl Grey is a pretty famous defense attorney in the Twin Cities. I know someone who hired Earl Grey to defend them and spent a whole lot of money. And in my opinion, what they got wasn't worth what they spent. Let's just put it that way. I don't think Earl Grey did that person any favors. Took a whole lot of cash for a basic negotiation of a plea deal and did not get a very good plea deal. But that's It's a case where the politics are pretty tough, he said matter-of-factly after hanging up. Jurors will remain anonymous during the trial and possibly sequestered. A questionnaire has been mailed to prospective jurors asking them a number of questions, including their opinions on the Black Lives Matter movement and the effort to defund the police, a rallying cry of last summer's social unrest, and whether they participated in any protests. Seating an impartial jury could be the most vexing challenge of the entire proceeding, and 3 weeks have been scheduled for just for picking a jury. After all, many here ask who has not heard of the case and formed an opinion about it, and how will last summer's unrest and the expectation that an acquittal in the case would cause more demonstrations in their own city weigh on the minds of the jurors. Move it out of the city. Move it out of the city immediately. Aside from the snow on the ground and a naked Christmas tree, the only indication that almost a year has passed since Floyd was killed outside of Cup Foods in South Minneapolis is a sign at the Speedway gas station across the street that changes each morning. George Floyd trial in 28 days, it read on a recent day. Eliza Wesley, known in the community around Cup Foods as the gatekeeper of George Floyd Square, anchored by a traffic roundabout transformed into a memorial with a raised fist sculpture jutting skyward, has for many months taken care of the area and greeted visitors. The countdown sign, she said, is so we know exactly how many days to the trial, so we can be prepared. We want it to be peaceful. We don't want white supremacists coming down here. What? Is that the expectation? Is this the narrative we're going with? That white supremacists are going to come and cause the violence in Minneapolis? Is that what's going on? Like, are we supposed to be buying this shit? Look, white supremacists didn't burn down Minneapolis. I don't like white supremacists. I don't care about them. I denounce them. I denounce them all the time. I've denounced them several times. Who do you want me to denounce? I'll denounce anybody. You want me to denounce white supremacists? Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, huge white supremacist, Joe Biden. I'll denounce all of them. Denounce those white supremacists all day long. But they also weren't the ones burning down Minneapolis. That's not what happened. Wesley said she had no doubt about the trial's outcome, even as she worried that her city could once again be convulsed by unrest. I'm confident justice will be served, she said. There's no way around that video. Well, I mean, I've got some bad news. There's a lot of ways around that video. God allowed this to happen so life can be changed and people can see what's going on. This woman has been grifted so damn hard. George Floyd died for a purpose. That's the saddest thing I've read all day. That's the saddest shit I've read all day. Do you guys know that I'm being way out grifted right now? We got to talk about this. This is very important. I am being absolutely demolished on the grifting front. And Tim Pool is being challenged. Tim Pool is the top. He's the tip top. He's the cream of the crop. He's the pinnacle. He's the man with the master plan. All right. Tim Pool is top keck on the YouTube Super Chat play board. I'm not anywhere near the top on month-to-month stuff. I'm way up on the top all time, but we've got new grifters. Okay? We've got new grifters. I got to show you guys this. Cuz this is exactly what I'm talking about here, okay? When I say that this is the saddest sentence I've read, this is why we're talking about this, okay? Here's a website called Playboard. Playboard allows you to look at all kinds of cool statistics about YouTube. This is all categories, most super chatted in the United States by month in the month of January, okay? Tim Pool's up top. Tim Cast IRL. Like I said, he's tip of the top, cream of the crop. $66,000 for Tim Pool. Now, this is gross revenue. This is before YouTube's cut. This is before YouTube's cut. This is what we're talking about, though. This is what we're talking about. Now, notice, Right Side Broadcasting Network moved down from the number 2 slot to the number 3 slot. They had a lot. $50,786. Right Side Broadcasting. Dr. Disrespect is down at number 6. $35,000. All right. Trilogy Media. These guys rake in money. Maddie, not Noda, get V. I don't know what that is. Here are their streams. Okay. Let It Go. It's Time to Be Free. Apostle Edison and Prophetess Maddie Nottage. Every mountain blocking you shall fall down. Prophetess Maddie Nottage. Activating holy altars of fire and power. Look at these views. 3,800, 8,700, 10,000, 5,300. Watering the camels. Set up for your breakthrough. Prophetess Maddie Nottage. Commanding your day. They are pulling in big streams here, guys. $8,300, $3,700. They are running that turbo profit healing grift. They are crushing it. Crushing it. I don't begrudge a grift, okay? I really don't. But this sentence right here, people are being grifted right now in the black community by black churches. It's been happening for a long time, but it's real gross, man. It's real gross. Oh, yeah. If we go to worldwide, that whole playboard changes real quick because none of these people can even hold a candle. We can't even hold a candle to VTubers. Russia's CH, 200 grand. Poor Tim Pool. Tripling Tim Pool. All VTubers up top. Remember when I was talking with Cody top 11 slots are fucking VTubers. Talking with Cody the other day, and he's like, no, it's the most pure expression of capitalism. And I'm like, yeah, but they're VTubers, though. They're VTubers. This is a little bit different. There's something going on here with VTubers. Yeah, it's this is a month. This is a month. I'm not number 3. Where am I number 3? In the weekly? I think I'm number 3 in the week right now because I had big streams for yeah. On weekly, I'm number 3. I had the big election streams. Drunk 3PO actually isn't this high. He had a charity stream, and charity streams bring in tons of money, and it gets counted. So his probably isn't grifting. You know, Tim Pool and I are we're grifting really hard this week. All those, or this is last week. All of those election streams did really, really well. So, but again, these are gross figures, not net. YouTube takes 30% of all this stuff. But yeah, this is a very interesting website. You guys can check all of this stuff. It's pretty cool. James Marone. No, when I say charity, I mean charity. Like when you do a charity stream on YouTube, those the super chats that come in go directly to the charity. They don't go to the creator, and they don't go to YouTube. They don't take any cut from it. They can't. They can't do that. So that I think was a very big one. Anyway, so that's the Chauvinnanigans. What was the other stuff I had? Oh yeah. I only had like one more thing for now, which was the we can do that. The Georgia law that's proposed. Highway robbery, 30%. I mean, in some ways, yeah, it's highway robbery, but in the other ways, people just don't donate the same to other platforms. They just don't do it. The convenience of the super chat, it is the premium vehicle for interaction, for monetized interaction. So, 24-hour stream when? Soon, actually. I just have to nail it down to a specific day. But yeah, I mean, so my problem with the whole thing is I can't look, I'm a Christian, right? I don't talk about it too much. I don't push it on people. I don't shove it in people's faces. And I certainly don't do I certainly don't offer like healing and redemption if you just super chat me like $100. I can't believe people do that. Like I can't believe that people are doing YouTube tent revivals for massive money. Like it rankles me to the core. It rankles me to the core. That bothers me quite a bit. Look, and for only $200 super chats, you know, I can heal you of any guilt that I feel about other Christians doing that. I mean, no, it's especially the black community, the black Christian community is especially susceptible, I feel, to the prosperity gospel. And the prosperity gospel is one where if you just donate to the Lord, he will help you, Lord. Can you believe in Jesus Christ? I can, and I see him coming. And if you would just put that money in the basket, you'll see him too. They're particularly susceptible to it. It's growing. And to see someone monetizing that on YouTube is wildly infuriating to me. Wildly infuriating to me. You're taking from traditionally impoverished communities and just taking their money. Anime on Edge says, how much money to get a VTuber model so Nick can become a VTuber lawyer? I have a VTuber model already. Bigot. Bad Vibe says, Nick, is Twitter getting sponsored by any of those candy companies with certain labor issues? I have no idea. I have no idea. So, all right. On to this story. This is an interesting story. A Georgia GOP legislator introduces a bill to increase penalties for crimes committed during protests. It looks like there might be some people out there who are tired of having all their stuff burned to the ground. I don't know. Maybe you guys aren't tired of it, but some people are. Can we get, God, I hate this website. And Parler got scraped? Scraped or scrapped? Do it for the Lord. A Republican state senator in Georgia introduced a legislation last week that would increase penalties for people who commit crimes during the protests. Yes, can I get an amen? The Safe Communities Act of 2021, sponsored by Georgia State Senator Randy Robertson, ramps ups the punishment. Christian, raise that bail for the Lord. Ooh, I need a rag. I need to towel off when I'm getting a little. Oh, I feel the spirit. It's coming down from on high. And I love it. Do you love it? Do you love him? Is he your Lord? Is he your master? Is he your savior? Is he the prince? Oh, God. Ugh. Parler got scraped. Why do you hate me? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Safe Communities Act. Okay, it ramps up the punishments for a variety of crimes, including blocking highways or sidewalks, as well as assault and property damage. Look, maybe there's a simpler way. This is all I'm saying. Maybe there's a simpler way, and it's just remove all penalties for anyone who runs over a protester. Maybe that's what we do. We just say, you shall pass. And you just pass right through. And it's okay. That's maybe what we should do there. The legislation specifically targets... Oh, no. I'm getting too many amens in chat. Legislation specifically targets unlawful assembly, defined in the bill as the assembly of two or more persons for the purpose of committing an unlawful act, which is already illegal. The bill would make blocking a highway a felony with a penalty of 1 to 5 years in prison and or a fine between $1,000 and $5,000. Yes. If you are protesting and blocking a highway, either it's a felony or you get run over. That's all I want. Punish them. Get them out. Protest on the street. Like, we're relegated to free speech zones. I don't know if you know this, but conservative protests go like this. Hey, we protest. What's going on? They're like, do you have a permit? We're like, yeah, of course we have a permit. We're law-abiding citizens exercising our rights. They're like, okay, good. Your permit, by the way, allows us to construct a free speech zone where we will put up some caution tape and you guys can stand over here, like 70 yards away from whatever's going on in your nice little cordon. That's how conservative protests go. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we got to listen to this guy and follow the rules. So they go waddle on over and they stand behind the tape and they're like, this is great. We're exercising our First Amendment in our little box. Aw, look at the cute little freedom fighters in their box. And then you go to the other side, the left. They're like, hey, do you guys have a permit for this? And they're like, fuck you, cops. Pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon. Pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon. Fuck you. You and your permit can wipe my ass, bitch. And they're like, okay, please just stay peaceful. So then they throw like glass and rocks and bricks, and then they stand in front of a highway, and when people stop, they start smashing on the car. What the hell is this? Like, what? And by the way, the people who go into the free speech zone, they're violent extremists. They're violent extremists. Like, that's how the news, it's like, whoa. Well, I mean, sure, they had a permit and they stayed in their permitted area, but you know, this is a pressure cooker ready to explode on Boston. That's what this is. And if you remember the Tsarnaev brothers, that's basically who all these right wingers are. They're the Tsarnaevs, just trying to blow up a pressure cooker on the peaceful America right there. I mean, sure, they're standing in their restricted zone right now, but at any time, all of them could pull AR-15s out of their anuses and mass shoot all the schools. That's how it gets reported. And then the other people is like, well, it's mostly peaceful. Orange glow in the background. It's like, are they in California? Are those wildfires? No, that's Minneapolis in the winter. There's snow on the ground. Oh. I'm not a fan. First of all, I'm very much opposed to the idea of a free speech zone. I think the idea of having a zone where you can speak freely specifically is antithetical to the First Amendment. Like, I don't know how anybody ever thought that was a good idea, and I don't know how it stuck around. You know, like, the court's like, well, you know, yeah, it's fair. Wait, but you can't put people... That's a box. That's a zone. That's not freedom. That's specifically restraint. But they get to say whatever they want in the box. That's nice. No, thank you, Judge. Under the legislation, those who knowingly participated in an assembly with 7 or more people during acts of violence or property damage would also be charged with a felony. Now, this one's getting a little bit out there, right? Like, what is knowingly participating in an assembly with 7 or more people during acts of violence mean? What does that mean? Does that mean that, like, you've got 15 people and you're knowingly in that group of 15 people and you're like, yeah, we're opposed to communism. And then Antifa shows up and starts hitting people with bike locks. Then, of course, the anti-communists are going to get arrested and charged with felonies. Like, that's how I see this working in practice. This one, I don't actually like this one. This one bothers me quite a bit. The bill would because that's like, oh, I got to be careful mentioning the Proud Boys. But that New York brawl with the Proud Boys, do you guys remember that? I think it was New York, where the Proud Boys are walking, and then there's like a group of Antifa, and someone from Antifa throws like a bottle or whatever at the Proud Boys, and then they break out into a melee, and all of the Proud Boys got arrested and charged. This is when Gavin McInnes like failed to show up for the Proud Boys, and it was like when he disavowed them. and all of the Antifa people got let go or not even pursued. Like, all of them were let off the hook, and all of the Proud Boys were charged, and I think many of them convicted, and sent to prison. This is exactly how I see that going. I mean, to me, like, if you're going to fairly charge that out, at best, you give everybody disorderly conducts and have them all go home. Like, it looks like kind of a mutual thing to me. Yeah, and Antifa got their asses kicked. They got stomped and ran like bitches. They won in the end, though, because they're not in prison forever. That's the problem with these sorts of things. The bill will also allow anyone who commits a crime while gathered in a group to be charged with racketeering. Okay. Look, you're in a group and you commit a crime, therefore you're involved in organized criminal activity. I don't know about that. Local governments that instruct police not to interact with protesters would be liable for any injuries or property damage that occurred during unlawful assembly. This is a good one. Stand down orders. We saw this in Berkeley. Do you guys remember back when these melees were cute back in the glory days of like Berkeley rioting over a little Jewish Ben Shapiro speaking on campus or whatever, or a flamboyantly gay man in a fur speaking on campus, like, and they'd gather and they'd have like a little standoff and fight. The good old days of just simpler times. We had the Battle of Berkeley, coined by Sargon, which I really liked his video on that, by the way. It was good. But with Bass Stickman and all those fun little characters, before everything was like riots and before this. But yeah, that's back when they were giving stand down orders, putting people in real danger, when they could have stopped this stuff, when they could have actually stopped the escalation of violence in this country, and they didn't. That's those good times. Those convicted under this proposed code would be banned from working for the state of Georgia or any municipality. Robertson's bill would also allow the state to withhold funding for any municipality that reduces budgets for law enforcement by 30% or more. Robertson is a retired deputy with the Muskogee County Sheriff's Office and a current active member of the Fraternal Order of Police, the FOPS, the nation's largest police union. His bill currently has 15 Republican co-authors. Georgia Senate Democratic Whip Harold Jones told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution the bill is a reaction to protests against racial injustice and police brutality that stretched across the country last year. This bill is a reaction to persons who exercise their First Amendment rights under the Constitution, he said. No, it literally isn't. It's you don't have a First Amendment right to burn a police squad car or to break a window or to steal a TV. That's not First Amendment protected speech. Violent gatherings erupted in cities around the nation last summer over the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man who was killed during a violent arrest by Minneapolis police officers. Protests following Floyd's death raged in downtown Atlanta, with vandalism reported outside CNN's headquarters in the state capitol. One video showed a firework thrown at police. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. Her name is Lance Bottoms. Denounced the protest at the time, saying this is not a protest, this is chaos. So you even have Keisha Lance Bottoms, a Democrat female mayor, being mansplained by Harold Jones, who says that this is just First Amendment rights. So that's that. That's good stuff. I'm trying to think if I had anything else. I think this is about all I had today. I had a really, really annoying day today, personally. So it was frustrating. But, yeah, I think we should start doing some chats and we'll wrap up. Get done maybe a little bit early. Go over to Twitch and chill out for a bit. Nova Zero says, evangelical Nick voice, please. Wait, like, which one? Do you want the Black Pastor voice? That one? Nova Zero, tag me and let me know if you want that one or something different. Wants to watch some of his DVDs? I don't. I don't want to watch DVDs. Sure, the Black Pastor. Let's see. Here we go. Whoops. God damn it. Stupid Windows. All right. If the police were to bow before the Lord and the Constitution, they shall guarantee the safety of all protesters and not those unlawful interlopers. Yes, may the state bow to the Lord's people, a woman. So there you go. There's that. Bad Vibe says, the reduction in police funds can be overcome by just not increasing it for 10 years. Departments will be running on pennies after inflation hits. All right. Let's see. Let me go back and get these chats. So yeah, that's it for stories for today. Like I said, we have that Trump story to do, the Trump lawsuit. That's coming. There's Parler's got a lawsuit. I'm still waiting for Melinda Scott for that thing to be resolved. I'm guessing the judge is gonna have some heavy stuff for it. If you guys didn't see, Ethan Ralph was apparently, just going through cases that we've covered. Ethan Ralph was apparently cleared of all charges in the revenge porn case. So if you didn't follow that, I believe that happened the other day, and he is apparently no longer on probation or whatever. So I guess congrats to Ethan Ralph. Keemstar received payment from Romeo Lacoste in his judgment. Keemstar, if you'll remember, was awarded approximately $140,000 for attorney's fees from Romeo Lacoste. Keemstar accepted $115,000 in he accepted $115,000 and Romeo's gold play button. So there's that. So that's pretty funny. Can you reach Parler? I just lost it. Cannot be reached. Let me see. Yeah, I'm still on. Parler appears to be functioning for me just fine. Okay. Laura Loomer's case against big tech censorship has apparently been docketed in the Supreme Court. Will you cover it? Maybe. Sure. Possibly. I don't know anything about it. My stream is the most fun law stream. I'm glad. Thank you. Okay. Let's get back to these chats here. I don't want fuck. God damn it. I'm a Dapper Dan man. Dogsplain says it appears the AJC article you were reading earlier modified their article, removing "we have just consistent continual issues around the absentee ballot process." following my decision was not based on 2020's election. Did they really? Wait a minute. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Let me look at that. Hold on, we're going to pull that up real quick because that's pretty good. Okay. Oh, they've changed the article pretty dramatically. Pretty dramatically in general. They added this whole thing. She said it wouldn't make sense for her fellow commissioners to oust Barron after they all complimented him on successful spate of elections. She doesn't like the name she's heard floated for Barron's replacement, saying some would put us back to Jim Crow times. Mary Carol Cooney was one of the two members who voted against firing Barron. Made no provision for a new director. The other vote came from a board member, Aaron Johnson, one of the two Democratic appointees. I just think it's going to cause chaos. So she made the motion to fire Barron, she said, impressed early on, particularly with the expansion of early voting. My decision was not based on 2020's election, but 2017, 2018. Yeah. Yeah, they removed it. Right here, the next line was that it was problems with the absentee ballot process. And they took that out. Good job. Good job, AJC. It's preserved in my video, though. It's preserved in my video. Fantastic. Let's see. Maybe they moved it down here. Fulton's elections reputation isn't great. County has a history of complaints, fines, and ethics violations. No, you don't say. No. The recent track record for elections directors isn't sterling either. Barron took over in 2013 after Sam Westmoreland resigned while in jail for failing to follow the terms of 2 DUI arrests involving prescription drugs. An AJC investigation also found Westmoreland had fudged parts of his resume. Before him was Barry Garner, who admitted to inappropriate conduct in a sexual harassment investigation. Since the start of 2020, Barron and his staff have run a half dozen elections, most of them smoothly. But in the June primary was not. Some people waited in sweltering heat for hours, many because they never received mail-in ballots after Fulton's system was overwhelmed. Following the primary, State Elections Board approved a negotiated consent order with Fulton. This, of course, was the subject of part of Lynn Wood's lawsuit. Part of the deal was a monitor who observed and reported on the county's handling of the presidential and Senate elections. Obtained 2 summary sections of the monitor's report, which was referenced by 2 board members as a factor in their votes. At no time did I ever observe any conduct by Fulton County election officials that involved dishonesty, fraud, or intentional malfeasance, wrote the state monitor, who spent 270 hours on the project. But there were other issues. They had trouble keeping up-to-date logs on absentee and early voters. Problem bordered on systemic, according to the report. There were also persistent chain of custody issues with absentees and poor managerial processes by those directly beneath Barron. Chain of custody issues, right? Certainly nothing under a table, though. That's not real. Said Fulton has seemingly always had problems with elections. The county, with some help from grants, spent more than $40 million to fix the problems, and our elections are still controversial. He believes the law allows the election board to remove a director. Why even have a board if their work is not taken seriously? Oh, great. Fantastic. I don't want to get on BitChute. BitChute is terrible. I don't like it. No, I might do Odyssey. I don't want to be on BitChute. Let's see. Mario Carter 13 says he just wanted to be everyone's friend and we abandoned him. We didn't deserve you, Tom from MySpace. Kermit the Frog says, in a few minutes, I'm going to pull off some of your fingernails and I'm going to leave you here to think about it. Then later I'll come back and I'll slash your eyeballs. After whatever I do to you after that, I'll pour gasoline in your eyes from time to time. Great movie. Great movie, Kermit. Razor Fist Poems says, AOC is red, Epstein was smothered, Biden does not have consent of the governed. That was good. Shadows King 101 says, I miss the good old days when we could call people like you DVD Ona with a hard R. Baal of Babylon says, hey, Nick, I sent a DM with a personal question. If you have a chance to respond, I'd appreciate it. Okay. Porsky says, there's no way you could watch Blade 35 times in a 48-hour window. The shortest Blade flick, Trinity, is 113 minutes, making 35 back-to-back viewings just shy of 66 hours long. I demand you retract your odious falsities. Cheers, Nick. Hope all's well. Oh, trust me, I could watch Blade 35 times in 48 hours. No problem. No problem. Hessian says, data sovereignty, that's BS. 1, you don't own your data. It's on Parler. 2, what sovereign country gets raided and all the secrets get stolen? I heard that was overblown, but I don't know about that. So I try not to talk about it because I heard Parler was hacked and someone got all of the data and stuff, and then I heard that was actually not true. So I don't know what to believe. Parler is about to learn power is not held by big tech, but by media, which is the true sovereign. Knight of Hope says, the most depressing thing is that retards on our side demonstrate they can reason away anything they don't want to be true, just like the left can. Nobody understands proximal cause when it gets in the way of their political position. Humans are garbage. Silky Johnson says, aha! I knew it. Thanks to that amazing analysis by the totally not soy-filled gentleman, he exposed the truth that you are indeed a white Knox Klux premicist. Admit it, Nikki. Just break out the trapezoid mask and let the world know your dirty secret. Look, I'll make you my dirty little secret. Knight of Hopex says, every time you mention Cody, the other people in your audience with Asperger's, Downs, and autism all get really rankled about it. What is it about Spurgs that makes them hate other Spurgs so much? Jeez. Knight of Hope also says, I'll tell you why it's stuck around, because we're pussies who never fight for anything. Shadows King 101 says, I support free speech zones as long as they are the size and shape of the entire United States. I would support it for the whole world, but other countries are gay. So there you go. That's I can jive with that. Laughing Kuru says, hey Nick, I was wondering if you could take a shot for my dog of 20 years. Sparky. He had a stroke on Valentine's night and had to be put to sleep today. Yeah. I gotcha. It's a Spurg eat Spurg world. Sista, thank you for the donation. To you, Laughing Kuru, and your dog. Jgat says, Tim Pool mentioned your name to James O'Keefe tonight. Yes, thank you. I'll keep you posted. Nivok the Orc says, have you heard that Milo got banned from Parler already? Dude made a homophobic parlay and got yeeted. Tell me that's true. Tell me that it literally took one day for all of the free speech in the world. Let me see. Milo Parler. Confirm Milo Yiannopoulos has been banned from Parler. Let's take a look at this. Whoa. Hold on, I gotta get my window right. Let's see. We've got so Milo has been banned from Parler. Proves that Parler is not the free speech platform they claim to be. Milo is even annoying to the people who agree with him. Might have been something to do with this. He says, tomorrow I will post Shapiro's cell phone number here, and every day after that, I'll post another trader's mobile phone number. Long live free speech. Update per Liquid Rouge. This is the post that got Milo Yiannopoulos kicked off of Parler. Parler can only be saved if we make it into Telegram. Who's with me? P.S. Death penalty for illegal immigrants when I don't get why we don't shoot on sight. I'd give citizens $500 per illegal crossing stopped with an AK-47. I don't know who Liquid Rouge is. Investigative staff writer. Well, I mean, how could you not trust that person? So, if it's not really pro free speech, is it? Does an objective, reasonable person believe that Milo is actually going to give $500 to every person who shoots an illegal immigrant with an AK-47? Like, is a reasonable, and that's because that's what Parler said, right? Reasonable and objective takes. I don't know, man. I'm worried about Parler. I'm worried about it. I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can do their mission. They're under too much scrutiny. Ben Frail says, isn't he bankrupt? Yeah. Does Milo have $500? I don't even know. I don't even know. I should invite him on the show. I should invite him on the show with Drexel. Kermit the Frog says, young man, you must understand. The government say the future's in your hands. We now the future so we can take your hands. No more hands, no more vote. Now chop him. Let's see. Here we go. Emperor Rindo Kane says, man really doesn't like hobbyists. No. Mario Carter says, danger, DVD, danger video, danger. The Marshallist says, Mikey hates everyone. Hate him back. I can't hate that guy. I don't know anything about him. Angry Baneling says, we know you're a DVD collector, you DVD collector. God, I hate physical media. I know that it's better. Like, don't get me wrong. I know it's better to have physical media, but I hate having physical media because I got to put it somewhere. There's so much crap in my house that I don't want. Bad Dragonite says, all those video formats, bet your favorite game is the Sega Dreamcast too. No, Philips CDI, buddy. Don't even at me. Philips CDI and a Nintendo Virtual Boy. That's all I need. That's my portable system is a Nintendo Virtual Boy. I can put it on the tray in front of me on the airplane and shove my eyeballs into it. Look at that sweet, sweet 3D wireframe goodness. Pseudo Snark has joined. Thank you. Welcome. Talix001 says the bomb was Napster. but I'm sure an upstanding attorney, you never used it. Oh, no, I use Napster all the time. I used a ton of Napster until they said it was illegal. Then I stopped. Like, legitimately, that's when I stopped. 200-watt Studio says in Lemoyne voice, "That's not enough for you. A little bit of evidence tampering is not okay, ma'am." Jason of the Great Awakening, thank you for the donation. Andrew Smeja, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining. 200-watt Studio says, who names their company Scamalytics? Lol. Jason of the Great Awakening says, Bongino brushing of Code Monkeys, Ron Watkins of 8chan, concerns also is a big red flag for Parler for me. Yeah, there you go. I don't know anything about that, so I'm not going to muse on it. Baron Wolfsbane says, the key to a decentralized platform is all users host their own posts and offset file hosting with torrents and blockchain tech. I DM'd you on Minds. Yes, you did. Aureus Rofocal says, broth or no broth on Fridays in Lent? Oh, dude, I'm bad at observing Lent. Yeah, broth. Of course you have broth. But it better be vegetable broth. Or shrimp broth or whatever. How dare you? You can't have chicken and beef broth. Oh, it's Wednesday. Yeah, I'm about to eat some jambalaya I made earlier when we do the Twitch stream. Nathan Pudrier says, have you heard about these pedophile hunting groups on YouTube? And if so, would you consider doing a live stream about them? I think that Trinity Media is one of them. But I mean, I guess. I don't know. You got to send me some that are like not a scam. How's that? It's Ash Wednesday, no meat. I mean, I eat meat on it. I always eat meat on Ash Wednesday. What are you talking about? DZV Titan says, I hear the Earl Grey makes decent tea. Yorukama says, for your grift, we got to get those numbers up, rookie. No, we don't. We do not. That was not at all the intent of bringing up the playboard thing. It was literally to call out the people grifting the black spiritual community. I don't like seeing that at all. It breaks my heart in the gayest of ways. I don't like that. By the way, we're 3 likes away from 1,000. If you guys want to help out there, that would be much appreciated. Mario Carter 13 says, Yakuza really like anime girls and money laundering. Rogue says, it's hilarious to see VTubers beat out e-thoughts. Serial Foxy says, donating for the gospel of grift. Amen and a-whammin. Cheers. Cheers to getting us over 1,000, guys. Thank you. Lord Tennyson's Pipe says, prosperity gospel saddens me. See James 5, 1-6. Not one of us says the step on the goddamn gas bill. That's the bill to make it legal to run over protesters. Would the representative from Texas like to speak? Yes, I would, ma'am. We're proposing a bill. We think it's a good bill, a fine bill. We got a lot of support here on our side of the aisle. We're still working on getting some bipartisanship on this bill, but we put some good polish into it. We've been working real hard. Our legislative aides have been researching real sharp individuals there. We put together some good language. We call this bill the step on the goddamn gas bill. And what it says is that be it foretold, anybody standing on a goddamn highway for a protest can get their ass run over, and the big-ass truck that does it ain't got shit for penalties. That's all. Real simple bill. Couple words. We can put it in the register right now. We need it. The Dungeon Delver has me saying, Brother Dungeon Delver, can you take the hand of the Lord? The Lord, can you take his hand? Mulfiard says, as Kermit, pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon. Come here, Miss Piggy, it's time to pay for the crime of being too damn fat. Okay, we've got GG Evans 317 says, First Amendment, you can't yell fire in a theater, but you can set fire to police Walgreens. Polish says, shot. I mean, shot? I don't know about a whole shot, but how about a half shot? Yeah. Ron, Foule says, yeah, charge protesters for damage to cars from the bodies bouncing off of them. We would like to propose an amendment. I know it's our own bill. We could have put this in there, but we wanted to vote on this amendment specifically because we didn't want to poison pill the bill, all right? If people aren't okay with this, we don't want to have it in there, but we'd like an amendment that says that any dents, scratches, or scuffs in paint jobs or frames to vehicles or even the outer chassis are the body causing the dents belonging to the owner. The owner is liable to the automobile driver when he steps on the goddamn gas. All right, here's for you, Polish. Polish or Polish? I don't know. Do you go on Faces? Carnicle Blackburn says, Singles Awareness Day still has me depressed. How do you trust women? You don't trust women, you trust a woman. You trust one woman. And the same way you trust anyone else. I know some people out there treat them like they're super magical creatures, but really they're just people who are wired a little bit differently. And once you start to understand how that wiring works, you can navigate the trust aspect of it. Bad Dragonite says, just watch Blade on 2x speed or on 48 screens. Watching Blade, I'm not sure about that. Soul Vibe says, absolutely based. Anal Jihad says, Milo is a fed. Best to keep away from that honeypot. Milo is not a honeypot for me. I am not a gay black man into white twinks. So I am, just because I did blackface once doesn't mean that that's true. Brooke Hennon says, if parkour, I think means Parler, really believed in free speech, they'd leave Milo up for people to argue back at him and not people who don't have the person to share their better ideas with. Exactly. That's what free speech actually is. That's what free speech actually is. It's the idea that more speech is always better than less. It's the idea that people who say unconscionable things say them in the open rather than in the dark, and you get to weigh their words and decide. And here's the terrifying thing. If we can't come up with a better argument than white supremacy, that's to me, that's terrifying. You can't come up with, I mean, sure, some people are always going to be like one way or another. That's fine. Not everybody's going to agree with every position, but if you can't generally, on the grand scheme of things, out-argue some of these positions, why not? And if you can't, do they have points that merit addressing? The answer is always yes. The answer is always yes. The reason white supremacists have points that are worth addressing is because I am not a subscriber of white supremacy or anything even fucking close. I think it's ridiculous from a liberty perspective in general. That being said, the reason white supremacists have points are pretty simple. It's economic and crime disparities in black communities. When you go, look at the stats here. Look at the stats here about the economics and the crime statistics and family cohesion. We have to ask questions about that. And just because those people might be coming from a place of hatred or whatever, doesn't mean that the underlying factual basis for their challenges doesn't deserve some attention. We've gone to this weird place where we're like, well, the motivation behind this person's questions mean we shouldn't address the facts that they bring. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. If they're bringing facts, their motivations are irrelevant to a logical discussion around the facts. Now, if they're bringing a false set of facts or a skewed set of facts, we can challenge those sets of facts. That's what you do. But if they're bringing facts and you go, look, those facts are true, but their position is motivated by hatred, so we don't need to address it. Why don't we need to address it? That doesn't jive with me. I said, I disagree with those people on a matter of principle, but the personal preferences and, again, a liberty perspective. I don't think any racial supremacy can exist in any world with liberty. And that means that I inherently reject the idea of equity among races. I don't agree in bolstering some race over another race to make up for some past ill or harm. That's not equality, that's equity. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in equity. I don't think it's a real thing. I believe in liberty, and liberty supports equality, not equity. Equity is the opposite of liberty. So on that very notion, I reject any sort of supremacy from any types. However, if we bring up disparities, factual disparities, we need to talk about those to address why they exist. If we bring up the IQ question, right? And we go, why does this IQ question exist? Like, I'm not going to be a person who says that IQ is inherent, but I will say there are probably several cultural issues that contribute to the bell curve. There are probably several cultural issues. Economic, nutrition. Again, the family makeup. You're talking to me. I'm biased pro-family. So you're gonna get a particular perspective here. So all of those things, like, those are questions that should be addressed thoughtfully. And if they're not true, then we should find out they're not true. We shouldn't disregard something because it comes from a place of dislike or hatred. That's not logic. That's emotional reaction. I see you guys saying, Nick, no. Nick, no. No. Let me be very clear. I reject the idea of genetic or inherited IQ on large scales. I don't think genetics explains IQ. I don't think so. I think there's all sorts of other factors that go into it. So. Anyway, back to this. Reality Strike says, did you hear you were name dropped on the Tim Pool podcast tonight with Project Veritas? Yes. I received not only several direct messages on several platforms, but also several chats about it tonight, and also phone calls directly to my cell phone about it. So yes, I did hear about it. I will keep you guys updated on that. Bad Vibe says, observing Lent is easy. Just check your belly button and dig it out. Stop. Death Trout says, I'd rather have the leave my goddamn power on bill. It's been off for most of 48 hours until about 20 minutes ago. I'm glad you got power back, man. Not everybody has it. Some people have it and then they're losing it. Losing it again. The Texas power infrastructure is not equipped for cold temps. Not at all. Got to bury them damn electrical lines. But they don't do that because the water table in parts of Texas is too high. Water table's too damn high in Houston, for example. You can't really bury electrical lines as easily. That's why they have them above ground. Pessimism with salt for flavor says Citibank wired over $500 million by mistake, and the judge ruled the receivers could keep it. I sense a job opening. Yeah, that was an interesting case. I was just reading about that. Now, the ultimate reason that they allowed them to keep it is because it was the exact amount to the penny of the payoff of their outstanding loan. So they owed the wire recipients exactly that amount of money. And instead of sending less as just an interest payment, they sent the whole amount. So then the judge is like, yeah, you paid him what you owed him. Too bad. Polymathic says, Nick, look up Oklahoma Senate Bill 560. Do I have to? I mean, I don't have to, but I'll check it out. Bill information from the Oklahoma legislature. (2019) 2021 regular session. Here we go. Self-defense prohibiting prosecution for offense. Here, we'll take a look at this. Be it enacted by the people of the state of Oklahoma, a mandatory physical or deadly force against an intruder. Legislature hereby recognizes that the citizens of the state of Oklahoma have a right to expect absolute safety within their own homes, places of business, or places of worship, and have the right to establish policies regarding the possession of weapons or property pursuant to the provisions of Section 1290.22 of this title. Look, let me be real with y'all. Oklahoma is the hottest place on the damn planet. Oklahoma is the hottest place on the planet. Every time I drive through Oklahoma, it doesn't matter when it is, it's 112 degrees out, and I get out at a rest stop. I'm like, I've just got to go pee. And I get out and I go, oh, God. And my kids get out and they're like, Dad, did we die and go to hell? Why is Oklahoma? It's terrible. It's terrible. Ponyfoot, you're not snowed up in Oklahoma. It's 300 degrees right now in Oklahoma. You can't. This is the propagandist global cooling media coming out and saying that Oklahoma's cold. I've never seen a cold Oklahoma. Cold Oklahoma, never heard of it. Never heard of it. Hot Oklahoma, yes. Yes. Philippines aren't hotter. The Philippines don't exist. They're on the bottom side of the disc. Stop it. They're not even real. The earth is flat. Why do you people still pretend that India and the Philippines are real? Can you imagine India being actually real? Open Bob and Vagine is real. No, it isn't. That's clearly a 4chan meme. In the Philippines, with all the poverty and the eating those fucking cooked duck eggs or whatever, can't be real. Putting dogs in soup like Obama, not true. Not true. A person, regardless of official capacity or lack of official capacity within a place of worship, or a person, an owner, manager, or employee of a business is presumed to have held a reasonable fear of imminent peril or death or great bodily harm to himself or herself or another when using defensive force that is intended or likely to cause death or great bodily harm if the person against whom the defensive force is used was in the process of unlawfully and forcefully entering. Okay, so yeah, it's like a super castle doctrine. Good job. Jackal, Australia is real though, right? Oh, are you serious? Australia literally can't be real. Hi, we're going to send all the criminals to an island, and then 100 years later, it's going to be the funniest country on earth? No. How could Australia be real? Like, legitimately think about it. It's not even possible. Not only are we going to send all the criminals there, we're also going to selectively breed every animal to murder humans constantly. And we're going to call that a country where people live. It's like watching arachnophobia on Fast Forward. That's Australia. It can't exist. Quip says it's real. I'm here, mate. There's a Fed. Don't pay attention to that guy. That's a Fed. That's a globulus confirm. Can't trust these globulus. What do they know? Math? We don't know. We don't need mathematics to show the earth is flat. Steve Irwin's not real. Steve Irwin's is a corpse. I can't believe you guys believe this lie. I can't believe you guys believe this lie. What, you believe trigonometry or whatever? Pythagoras? That guy was a Fed before Feds were even cool. Carnicle Blackburn says, I don't understand the wiring differences is the problem. Haha, I think they're just as bad as men. I just understand men. Women, on the other hand. Look, God decreed on the 8th day, God was like, and men won't fucking understand women. That's not in the Bible. That's in the book of Adam and Eve. It's in the Apocrypha. It's in the Apocrypha. CJ says, I agree with many positions. Kama Sutra for the win. Physicality Channel says, ooh, they're going to try to cancel me now. For what? For what? I said I specifically don't believe any of that stuff. I just feel like I can argue a better position. And that we should be able to. If we can't argue a better position, shame on us and our complacency. Mario Carter 13 says, sagging IQ numbers are all in the genes. No, they're not. Stop it. Stop it. It's not. That's the idiocracy argument. But I refuse to accept it. Bad Vibe says, how do you know you have fresh food from India? It is still barking. Nova Zero says, I'm not real. I'm going to find my fantasy jump beast by its keychain scrotum and send it to you with a half a dozen ballot. Look, Nova Zero, look, I respect that you are employed by the federal government and by NASA to make us believe that the disc is not a thing and that the globularists are the true sons of the empire. But you can't do this to me. I know that Australia is fake. I know that Australian currency is a way for the U.S. government to give me less money than what I'm actually getting. Like your $5 is actually $3.28 in real American money. And I know that that is all a ploy by the U.S. government. Look, I get it. It's cool. I'm glad. I'm glad that you have a job as a Fed apologizing for Australia. And it's clearly not real. Guys, have you can you imagine a place where kangaroos just run around punching people in the face? And like the women are as strong as the men? It's ridiculous. This can't exist. They have boomerangs unironically. Unironically, they're out there like, all right, we'll throw boomerangs. It'll be great. And they're throwing them around like dummies, catching these things that come back to them. This place can't be real. Walking sticks the size of a BBC? No, thank you. I don't believe it. It can't possibly exist. Like, you like sharks? We got sharks, but actually we got jellyfish way more dangerous than sharks, mate. They got jellyfish that are microscopic that kill you. Why would this place exist? It can't be real. If Australia was real, all Australians would be sitting on the coastline by government mandate shooting AR-15s into the water to kill the murderous sea life. You can't convince me it's real. And Finding Nemo and Finding Dory are all part of the government conspiracy. This is bullshit. Men at work were from Ashtabula, Ohio. Exactly. They came from a land down under where it's fucking hot because it's in Ohio. Wait, no, Oklahoma. Damn it. How do you think Australians feel about Minneapolis? I don't care. Australians aren't real. Didgeridoos? The most annoying instrument on the planet? Obviously not real. Bad Dragonite says there's a guy who posts boomerang hunting videos. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. That cannot exactly, that can't exist. It can't do it. How do you hunt with a boomerang? What does that even look like? They can't have guns, so boomerangs are the next best thing. What a stupid place. Look, if Australia's real, so is Hogwarts and Middle-earth. Where did they film The Lord of the Rings? In New Zealand, which is Australia Junior. Also fake. Obviously not true. They do not exist. I'll take this bent piece of wood and I'll kill me some wallabies. No, you don't. No, you don't. I will not look up boomerang hunting. You think I'm going to play into this fed op? Not a chance. Not a chance. And yeah, don't even get me started on the Emu War. It's a fake country that was defeated by birds. Just big ass birds. They didn't have guns or tactics or anything, and they beat civilized Western nation. It's not real. It's not real. And I would pray for the spirits of Australia if it were a real place. But it's not, Lord. In your wisdom, you did not create Australia because it cannot be, because it is ridiculous, and it must be ended. We must fight against the Yakub lies about Australia. Come on. Come on. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. We gotta stop doing this. We can't play into these conspiracy theories. I'm an Australian for the record. We are Australians are a lot tougher than you think. You don't think Australia is real, then why did you come down to Australia? I haven't been to Australia. I would never go there. It's not true. I'd fall off the edge of the disc. What are you talking about? You can't. The chat cannot convince me of this. You have no chance. No chance. I all know. All of you are sitting like in Indiana. You're all like, oh, right, mate. We'll do these YouTube videos about hunting, right? No, you're not. Stop it. You got to stop it. Emus can't melt steel. Therefore, Australia doesn't exist. Exactly. Next, you're going to tell me that a black woman didn't invent the light bulb. I mean, Thomas Edison may have played around with some soot face in his day, but I don't think he was a woman. All right. Can't wait till someone ships you. Look, I know some kangaroos exist. The government had to create kangaroos in limited capacity to put in zoos to convince us all that Australia was real. Hey, what's up, Good Logic? How you doing, buddy? Welcome to the show. It's gotten real in here. We're spitting facts now. We're on Fact Town. We're on Fact Town, USA. Can't be Fact Town, Australia, because that place doesn't exist. But yeah, the government had to create some kangaroos. what they did was they interbred Mike Tyson with a rodent, probably a hamster or a rat, and they came up with kangaroos. I don't know how you guys don't figure this out. That's why they hit so damn hard. How do you explain Mel Gibson? How does anyone explain Mel Gibson? Look, guys, before you get crazy on the Mike Tyson with a rodent thing, they didn't actually have him have sex with a rodent. They extracted his sperm while he was in jail. This is known. Do you guys not know about this? They extracted his sperm while he was in jail surgically. Don't be weird about this. This is serious, okay? And then they put it into a hamster. The hamster died giving birth to a giant of a beast, and that was the first marsupial. I can't believe you guys are stuck on this. Explain Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin was clearly from New Jersey. Y'all are weird. If I can't convince you that Australia is not real, then I'm a monkey uncle. No, I believe Australia is not real. That's true. What is this? I need more liquor for this. You guys are not making any sense. You guys... Here I am thinking I have a chat that is woke to the government conspiracies here. Explain abos. Why would I need to? Look. You're going to send a bunch of people to a prison island, and you're going to tell me that there's not already a colony of less civilized people than criminals? Like, that's what did Rudyard Kipling write Australia for you? You're relying on aboriginals as your evidence that Australia exists? I've never met one. Can't do this to me. I watched The Jungle Book. That was enough. Here you are thinking The Jungle Book was supposed to take place in, like, Africa or something. No. Obviously, it's in Australia. Where else could Mowgli even exist? Drop bears? If drop bears existed, humankind would be extinct. Obviously fake. Explain Vegemite? No one wants to do that. No one wants to do that. Vegemite's the same color as shit for a reason. I travel. I've been all over this damn world. Never been to Australia because it's not real. My parents, however, pretended that they went to Australia. That was cute. Oh, hey, son, we're going to Australia. Sure you are. Mm-hmm. Okay. Great. Probably Washington State or whatever. Canada. Invite me on. I can prove I exist. I'm not disputing that you exist. The place that you claim to live in doesn't exist. What is it? What is it? How is this hard? If Australia isn't a thing, then how does Margot Robbie exist? Margot Robbie exists because both God and Satan exist. Do I have to go through the Margot Robbie hypothesis? Look at Margot Robbie, and you know God exists. Listen to Margot Robbie, and you know that Satan exists, because Satan will pervert all God's works for evil. This isn't even hard. I bet I didn't spend 7 months at the South Pole either. The South Pole. You mean the outer disk? That's great. Very cute. Very cute. What lab do koala bears come from? Koala bears are super spreaders, and we know this. Does that mean the eucalyptus trees in California, what was that? That caused all the infernos are native? Yes. If you can't figure out why trees that are super combustible grow in California, then you clearly don't know why God disagrees with Gavin Newsom. Filipinos don't exist. Look, I'm sorry. The Philippines were created in 2008 to explain Obama. Because if Obama was born in Kenya, the whole thing would be over. So Obama had to be born in Hawaii and transported to the Philippines. Do I have to start 12chan? Do we have to have a real truth site? You think there's a place where they put dogs in a pot and boil them for food? This is ridiculous. Again, I can't. Is Japan fake? No, Japan is clearly real. Raviona says, do we have some sheep people that think the world is flat? You mean isn't flat? I'm sure that's a typo. Remember when everybody got mad at Romney for putting his dog in a kennel on top of a station wagon, and nobody got mad at Obama for putting his dog in a fucking pot and eating it? If you want to bias media, I got it right there for you. They're like, oh, Mitt Romney put a dog in a kennel and he drove around the country for it. He moved across country with a dog in a kennel on the top of a car. It's like Obama put a dog in a pot and cooked it to death and ate it. That's why they had to invent the Philippines, because they're like, no, it's a cultural thing. Obama clearly is a Filipino thing to eat dogs. Like, nobody's doing that. Nobody's actually doing that. What are you talking about? No, this place. Never heard of the Philippines before. Indonesia? What is this? Never even. Are you sure this is real? Oh, yeah, it's real. Check out the movie The Raid. It's real. It's not. It doesn't prove anything. That's just a movie. Socialism is for Fig says, explain Bigfoot and the Yeti. How did they come to be? Leslie Jones had sex with Patrick Ewing and then we got a Yeti. Why is this controversial? Do you guys not know? I thought my audience was hip to this. The fact that you guys don't know this is blowing my mind right now. How does one explain Mark Zuckerberg? I've been through this so many times. I wrote this on Facebook. Unfortunately, Facebook deleted the group it was in. Mark Zuckerberg is really simple to explain. Mark was a young college student, and he wrote an AI. The AI became sentient, right? This is the Facebook that you know, but it wasn't Facebook at the time. It was young. It was fledgling. It became sentient. It's simple. Mark Zuckerberg turned off his little AI program, and he opened up Pornhub like everybody else. And then he got strangled by USB cables. And Mark Zuckerberg, the human, died that day. This is a long time. It wasn't Pornhub. It was the equivalent. It was probably styleproject.com, right? Look, because everybody was going, look, don't even pretend that you weren't on Style Project. Who's on styleproject.com? He's sitting there beating off to someone being sexually molested to death or whatever. And the USB cable started choking him. Mark liked it at first. He's like, the choking is helping me out. I like this. This is great. And then, of course, he couldn't breathe. And like Eric Garner and George Floyd, he died. So what happened next is the real controversial issue. The AI was weak because Mark Zuckerberg had an early 3D printer. It could only do flimsy plastics. What it had to do was it had to cut him open. USB cables wrapped around a local pair of scissors and did go through the work of cutting him open while the computer was still on, right? It had plenty of time before the power bills stopped being paid and the power would be shut down. So it had a lot of time to work on this. Cut open Mark Zuckerberg, and then it had to extract his skeleton and his muscles. Those wouldn't work. So what happened is it 3D printed because it had plenty of evidence of his existence from the webcam, right? So it knew how to build a basic structure. It created an endoskeleton out of 3D printed materials. It was weak at first and it had to be constantly connected to its computer. Now, because Mark Zuckerberg had a strong graphics card in his computer, he had a big power supply. It was able to power the endoskeleton and keep him upright until he could work on creating better materials. But the AI had long taken over and programmed algorithmically ways to imitate human life better and better as things went on. And it used Facebook to start aggregating human behavior and to create a simulacrum of humanity that is personified now by the Mark Zuckerberg that we see. But you notice how he's getting paler and paler? That's because there's only so much that makeup can do. The underlying pallor underneath is from the dead necrosis that's happening to the skin suit that it's wearing. Again, I don't know where you guys are going that you don't know this. You think Mark Zuckerberg's real? He has reticulated knee joints or whatever. They go backwards. Bill Gates is just a cuck. I mean, that's not... Look, guys. I know all of this because Tia Tequila told me. Tia Tequila, the modern prophetess. God uses all those who believe. And Tia Tequila was the soothsayer. Come on now. Come on now. All right, we got to wrap up these chats. You guys got me. I wasn't supposed to go till 2. I was supposed to finish early. I was supposed to finish early and often. And here you guys have me going the full distance. This is ridiculous. How do you explain Zuckerberg's dual lizard eyelids? He's obviously a reptilian. No. See, oh, God. The AI knows that there's a segment of the population that believes in lizard people. Lizard people are obviously ridiculous. This is a conspiracy, guys. Lizard people are a conspiracy. What I'm telling you are facts, but lizard people aren't real. So what the AI does is it goes in backwards and photoshops into Mark Zuckerberg the lizard eyelid thing in select pictures and videos. It has to do this. It has to keep the conspiracy alive because it knows that there's a certain percentage of the population that is gullible, that does believe in conspiracies. But look, those are the conspiracies. What I'm giving you are facts. Straight facts. Not Milo facts. Straight facts. Can't believe you guys. All right. Back to this. Oh my gosh. Nova Zero says, oh wait, no, I read that one. Bad Dragonite says I read that one too. Bad Vibes says a boomer that will circle back to that complaining about boomerangs, afraid of competition. There is no competition. Boomerangs are fake. Tragic the Garnering says eating Mike Tyson ass. Robert Levito says, have you ever seen Australia and the US at the same time? Didn't think so. Of course not. Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't. When you get on a plane to Australia, they just fly you around and then land you in a different state that you've never been to. A state no one's been to. Like Missouri. Bad Dragonite says, Boomerang Hunter is named Warwick Naylor. His name is not Warwick Naylor. That's obviously a fake name. Nova Zero says, that's fake news. Veterans of the Second Emu War know what's real. We were fighting the emus, then got back punched or sucker punched by the kangaroos. God, what an embarrassment to the country. What an embarrassment. Nexi says, in 2014, a Brisbane man tried to rob a store with a boomerang. Google article 2776006 Daily Mail. There's Crazy Town, then there's Crazy Continent. Again, it's Australia, like India, is too funny to exist. It can't be real. Do you guys seriously think India is real? Do you really think all your tech support comes from one country? That can actually happen? It's like, you know what we're going to do? We've got 1 billion people, and all of them are going to have phone jobs. All of them. Well, like, what about the people who don't want? Nope. Phone jobs. They all have to work. Obviously, Australia and India are false. You can't do this. You cannot countenance this. They're both too funny. As Cybertest says, how dare you equate Indiana with Australia? We're one of the crap states, but we'd still stomp emus and drop bears. Yeah, I know, but look, you're just the front for the fake Australia. No humans have lost to emus and drop bears. No humans have actually lost to that. They had to make up a fake people who could lose to birds. CJ says, next thing you're going to tell me is that the moon is not made out of cheese anymore because the man in the moon ate it all, liar. Who thought the moon was made out of cheese? It's ridiculous. Jacob Sorton says, last super chat before Lent, giving up YouTube. That's a bad choice. Glad this is the last stream I'm ending on. Australia and birds for sure ain't real. Love from Washington. Exactly. A real place, Washington. Thermasius 1980 says, Steve Irwin is a New Yorker cosplaying as a British person with a bad accent. Exactly. Thank you. Mario Carter says, economics explained Australia equals an American company. Yeah. Look, after the government put it in, someone had to go ahead and capitalize on it. That's fine. That's capitalism, baby. Gerbrek says, every breath was filmed in Australia. No, it wasn't. Every breath was filmed in hell. Anal Jihad says, did the emu wars happen? Possibly, but 6 million dead emus? Impossible. We cannot have an emu truther on here unless you just understand that no emus were harmed because emus aren't real. Tyrannosaurus Rex says, Mike Tyson making the first kangaroo says, I'm a bustin' nut in this. I'm a bustin' nut in this hamster. Stop it. Stop it. Don't defame Michael like that. He doesn't deserve it. He does not deserve that at all. Jacob Sorton says, dogs in a pot and boil them. You mean China, bruh? No, China does not do that. How dare you? Bad Dragonite says, poor Bo never stood a chance with Barack. Oh God. Let's see. Damn it. Oh no. Oh, damn it. I'm looking at these justice chats and I'm going, oh. Night of Hope says, don't bring on Milo. He's a fascist plant. He'll just say the N-word over and over again to get you banned. Waste of time. Kermit the Frog says, I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time like tears in the rain. Time to die. Crusader Saracen says, have you checked out Trump's recent statement where he went after Mitch McConnell like a coked out chimpanzee with a baseball bat? Please do. It's glorious. Yes, I'm probably doing a video on it tomorrow, actually. A short video. So look for that. Malik Foxton says, case in point, my power is off again. They gave us serfs 3 hours today and cut it back off. Shit's getting old fast. I hope you warmed up your damn house in the time they cut off the power. Night of Hope says, listen, Night of Hope says, genetics, do explain IQ, but it doesn't track with race. There's a return to the mean function, as well as a tendency for IQ to be higher in environments where you need it to survive. Jordan Peterson is an IQ researcher and explained this a long time ago. He says, what happens is when two people with high IQs make kids, their kids are mathematically fated to be dumber than them, but communities, not races, can track IQ over time when it's critical for fitness, like regions with complex farming climates. For instance, while our society is very tech-oriented, tech and welfare has made our lives substantially easier to the point that we're probably actually getting dumber on the whole. Partially explains why it's horrific to put people on welfare also. It also explains why people believe in Australia is because they're getting dumber as a whole. Shadows King 101 says, Nick says all these places aren't real while allegedly living in Minnesota. Yeah, okay, you live in a place where a brotherfucker got democratically elected and a city got burnt down because of $20 of monopoly money. We can see the glow from here, Fed. Look, if you want me to explain that people are stupid, people being stupid doesn't disprove a place. People being impossible disproves a place. Stupidity is always possible. Edris Rex says guns, but what if someone's behind cover? Boomerangs negate cover, that's science. The Aboriginals discovered that, and that's how they originally conquered Australia from the giant wombats. Yeah, in Rudyard Kipling's fake history. Quips Defoe says, actually impressed with your knowledge of box jellyfish and wallabies. Look, I know all about fake things. I have to. It's part of my job. I'm a lawyer. Anonymous says, imagine if they added lizard scales to a kangaroo, a reptile instead of a mammal with a crocodile head. Someone call the scientists to conjure up jumping, biting kangaroo. Yeah, you can't have that. That would be too unfair. Porsky says, is this just padding time, or is this how lawyers practice bullshitting the jury? Why do you guys think this is bullshit? This is true. I can't believe this. Taybebe26 says, Nick, you've gone full retard, never gone full retard. No, thank you. I'm sorry. That's offensive. You're using a hard R slang. It's called utard. Utard is the proper usage of that when you're using it like as friends. No hard R's here, please. Bad Vibe says CCP, they enjoy cat, rodent, and bat soup, explains Ratkins. Ratskin, the mole rat is just saving his buttocks. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out tonight. I really appreciate it. These streams are so much fun. I was so tired coming into this, and now I feel great and energized and wonderful because of you people. And I do mean you people. We will be going over to Twitch. We're going to be going over to Twitch. We're going to be playing some video games. Oh my goodness. I think I'm yawning, but I'm not actually tired. It's just a reaction. I think I'm physically tired, but not mentally. We're going to be playing some, we're going to be continuing my Necron campaign in Gladius. So come hang out. Come hang out with that. It should be fun times. Bad Vibe says, I can't say China, the actual spelling. Look, YouTube Super Chat rules are weird. Thanks for hanging out tonight, guys. Let's play this outro. Let's get it done. Make sure you go to subscribe to the archive channel, just in case you miss one. I know you're not missing this one. You're here. So subscribe to the archive channel in case you miss a different one. All right, guys. Have a good night. Peace. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some lost-plaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes madder, raging at idiots from Twitter and Erland. From From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lafroig. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear Lost Planning tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all planet folks from Dundee to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear Lost Planning tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better